Have you ever looked at your bank account after a completely normal month and thought, wait, where did all my money go? You didn't buy a car. You didn't blow cash on some crazy luxury item. You just lived your life. Groceries, a few meals out, maybe a new phone because the old one was getting slow. A couple of subscriptions. That's normal stuff. And yet somehow you're sitting there thinking you should have way more money than you do. The thing most people don't realize is this. A lot of things that used to be reasonable are simply not worth the price anymore. Prices have gone completely crazy on everyday stuff, and we're all just kind of going along with it because that's what everyone else is doing. My name is Carlo, and I help people understand money and how to actually keep more of it instead of watching it disappear on overpriced garbage. If you're tired of feeling broke, even though you're not doing anything stupid with money, this video is for you. Let's go through 10 everyday expenses that are quietly draining your bank account and talk about what to do instead. Number 1, fast food that isn't cheap anymore. Let's start with something that's probably going to make a few people defensive. Fast food isn't cheap anymore. That was the whole original point, right? It was supposed to be quick and affordable. You could grab a burger and fries for a few bucks and move on with your day. Now you walk into a typical fast food place, order a meal, maybe upsize it a bit, and suddenly you're staring at a bill for $12, $15, sometimes close to $20 for one person. That's not a deal. That's almost restaurant money for food that still tastes and feels like fast food. You're standing at a counter or sitting in your car eating out of a paper bag, and the price is acting like you're at a decent sit-down place. The value is gone, but the habit stayed. People still treat fast food like a cheap option. Hit it multiple times a week because it's only $15, and then they wonder why the account balance looks sad at the end of the month. Number 2, normal restaurant visits that add up like crazy. If fast food is bad, sit-down restaurants are worse. Eating out used to be something you could do regularly without nuking your budget. Now, going out to eat is basically a luxury hobby. 2 people sit down, order a couple of mains, maybe an appetizer, definitely some drinks, because why not? And suddenly the bill is $60, $70, maybe $80 at a completely normal place. Add a tip, and that dinner just cost you $100. And here's the thing. That $100 is gone forever. You didn't buy an asset. You bought 45 minutes of vibes and some food you could probably make at home for a fraction of the cost. There's nothing wrong with going out. Don't get me wrong. Life is supposed to be lived. But when dinner out is happening 3 or 4 times a week, you're basically lighting thousands a month on fire and then complaining your savings account never moves. Come on. Number 3, brand new cars for normal incomes. Now let's talk about one that quietly wrecks people's long-term wealth. Brand new cars. For most normal people, buying a new car is one of the worst financial decisions they can make. The moment you drive it off the lot, a big chunk of the value disappears. You haven't even parked it at home, and you're already down thousands. Then it keeps depreciating every year while you're making payments on it. You're paying interest on something that is guaranteed to be worth less and less over time. That is the exact opposite of investing. And most people do it not because they need a brand new car, but because of how it feels. The new car smell, the latest model, what other people will think when they see them driving it. It's pure status. If you're genuinely rich and money isn't an issue, fine, enjoy it. But if you're trying to get ahead on a normal income, this is how you stay broke. A 3 or 4-year-old used car often has the same features, the same reliability, and costs half the price. Someone else already ate the brutal depreciation, and you get a solid car for far less. But people convince themselves they deserve new, and then spend the next 5 to 7 years paying for that feeling. Number 4, designer clothes and logo addiction. Let's slide into the closet. I'm not saying all expensive clothing is a waste. Buying a high-quality coat or boots that last for years can actually save money over time. The problem is most people aren't paying for quality. They're paying for logos. A plain white t-shirt can cost $10. The exact same shirt with a designer logo slapped on it suddenly costs $200. Same cotton, probably the same factory. The only difference is the name printed on the tag. And people swipe their card because they want the feeling of wearing something luxury, hoping it somehow makes them look more successful or attractive. Well, here's the harsh part. Almost nobody actually cares. No one is giving you more respect because of the brand of your t-shirt. You're just $190 poorer. People do this across their whole wardrobe, jeans, sneakers, bags, and then they wonder why their credit cards are maxed. If you're still building your first real savings and investments, logos are one of the fastest ways to donate your future to brands. Number 5, vacations you can't afford, but Instagram can't know. Travel is another area that's drifted from rewarding into financial landmine. Flights are expensive, hotels are expensive, even budget trips somehow end up costing way more than they used to. But because everyone posts vacation photos online, people feel like they have to keep up. So they book big trips they can't really afford. Put flights and hotels on credit. They spend freely on food and activities because you're on vacation, and then spend the next year paying off that 1 week with interest. The memories are nice, the debt is not. Travel can absolutely be worth spending on. New places, new cultures, time off, but not if it's blocking you from saving anything or pushing you deeper into debt. There's a huge difference between we saved and can easily afford this trip, and we're financing our vacation and hoping future us can figure it out. Smaller trips, closer destinations, cheaper stays, those exist. Most people just don't choose them because they want the big, flashy trip now and don't want to wait until they can actually pay for it. Number 6, subscriptions that nibble your paycheck to death. On paper, subscriptions look harmless. 10 here, 15 there, but nobody has one, they have 5 or 6. Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime, some random streaming service they only needed for one show, music subscriptions, cloud storage, apps, and it quietly adds up to $60, $70, $80 a month just to be entertained. Then layer cable on top of that. Some people are still paying $100 or $150 a month for cable packages with hundreds of channels that they never watch, purely out of habit. Add a gym membership that you don't use, $50 or $60 a month that they keep paying because canceling feels like admitting defeat. And suddenly, you're spending hundreds every month on things that aren't even part of your actual life anymore. None of these individually feels like a big deal. Together, they're a constant leak in your finances that never stops until you consciously plug it. Number 7, constant electronics upgrades. This one hits almost everyone. New phones, new laptops, new tablets, new smartwatches. Your current phone works fine, but the new one has a slightly better camera, so suddenly you need it. A new iPhone is around $1,000 now. A lot of people are upgrading every 1 to 2 years, even though their previous phone functions perfectly well. Same with laptops and tablets. They're powerful enough now that most people use a tiny fraction of what they can do. But the marketing makes you feel like your perfectly fine device is ancient. Tech companies know exactly how to trigger that feeling of, I'm falling behind. If you just stayed 1 or 2 generations behind or kept your devices for 4 or 5 years instead of 2, you'd save thousands over a decade. Thousands that could actually be invested instead of sitting in a slightly thinner phone you mostly use for social media. Number 8, overpriced household stuff and financed furniture. All right, now let's move to the house. People are spending crazy amounts of money on everyday household items because of branding and aesthetics. Branded cleaning products that cost double the generic ones, but work exactly the same. Fancy kitchen gadgets that get used twice and then live in a drawer. Specialty appliances that are basically clutter with a cord. Then you get to furniture. This one is wild. People are financing couches, not buying a couch, financing a couch. They go into debt for a sofa that's going to be stained and sagging in 5 to 7 years because they want the expensive showroom version instead of a decent used or cheaper option. They pay interest like it's a car loan, except it's for something you sit on and spill coffee on. You can absolutely find solid, good-looking furniture secondhand at outlets, clearance sales, or lower-priced stores. But the desire for the perfect Instagram-ready home has many people burning ridiculous amounts of money on things that make the living room look great, but the bank account look terrible. Number 9, status spending to impress people who don't care. Status spending is when you buy things not because you actually need or even deeply want them, but because of what you think they signal. Luxury watches, designer bags, high-end cars, and little flex purchases that say, I'm doing well. All of that falls into this category. Here's a funny twist. Truly wealthy people often don't do this nearly as much as you'd think. They don't need to prove anything with their shopping. The people most likely to flex are often the ones who can least afford it. They're sacrificing their future security to look good right now, to impress friends, family, or total strangers on the internet who will forget about it in 5 seconds. Meanwhile, they have no emergency fund, no investments, and stress every time an unexpected bill shows up. They look rich, but they're not building wealth. They're burning it. Number 10, autopilot spending and death by 1,000 cuts. The last one isn't a specific product. It's the way all of these things work together. Autopilot spending. The reason people stay broke is rarely one giant stupid decision. It's hundreds of small, reasonable decisions that pile up into thousands of dollars a month going to stuff that doesn't actually matter to them. Fast food that became normal, restaurant dinners that became routine instead of a treat, subscriptions nobody remembers signing up for, upgrades nobody needed, status buys to feel better for 5 minutes, household things that are more about the label than the function. One by one, each feels harmless. At the end of the month, they're the reason your account doesn't grow. Most people never really look. They just feel constant money pressure and assume they don't make enough. In reality, a lot of them make a perfectly decent income. It's just leaking out in 10 different directions all month long. Carlo, do I have to live like a monk now? At this point, you might be thinking, Carlo, what do you want me to do? Live like a monk and never enjoy anything? And that's not the point at all. This isn't about never buying coffee, never going out, never traveling, never owning anything nice. It's about being honest with yourself about what actually makes your life better and what doesn't. If a certain expense genuinely brings you a lot of joy or solves a real problem, keep it. Just make that choice on purpose, not on autopilot. The problem isn't the one vacation you plan and save for. It's the third streaming service you forgot to cancel. The upgrade you didn't need. The dinners out you don't even remember. And treat yourself habits that happen every weekend without you noticing. You can either look wealthy or be wealthy, but for most people you can't do both at the same time. Every dollar you spend to impress other people or to keep up with what everyone else is doing is a dollar that doesn't work for your future. Maybe that means your life looks a little less impressive on social media. Maybe you keep your phone longer, drive a normal car, travel a bit less often, and a bit cheaper. But you know what you get in exchange? Money, options, actual financial security. The prices of everything has gone up, and they're probably not going to come back down. Companies have figured out that people will keep paying, so they keep charging. The only real power you have is to stop playing the game on their terms. Use what you already own longer. Cook at home more. Buy used where it doesn't matter. Cut the subscriptions you don't use. Track where your money is actually going for a month, and be brutal about what's worth keeping. You'll be shocked how much you're spending on things that don't move the needle on your happiness at all. The people who figure this out early are the ones who end up comfortable later. The ones who keep swiping on normal expenses without thinking are the ones who end up stressed about money their whole lives, wondering why they can't get ahead even though they make decent money. Well, this is why. I'm Carlo. Thanks for watching, and remember, this is not financial advice. It's your life, your money, and your choice whether you want to drive your wealth or park it in the driveway until it disappears.